Hello, Rochelle here, Dreaming English, and today we're going to have a conversation about learning languages, and we're going to talk with Alfonso. Alfonso, so well, how long have you been learning English?
Yes, well, first of all, thank you, Michelle, for inviting me. I'm sorry for my uh, English speaking. I'm gonna try to talk uh, the more clear I can. I can tell you that I started to learn English. I think I started with this. It was 2015, so we can say that I have been walking by this way approximately during 4 or 5 years ago. I think
Okay,
it was in September 2015, really. Yeah.
interesting. Well, I've been studying Spanish for who knows, 15, 20 years. However, I started restudying it, like restarting over again. It was probably about the same year. I actually was working at a college and my job got eliminated. And I decided that I was going to become fluent. I was going to become bilingual in 3 months. I was going to use Duolingo, the application for on the phone, and I was planning that I would study and study and study, and I would be fluent and bilingual in 3 months, but that didn't happen. In fact, I found, although Duolingo was helpful in kind of like helping me remember some of the rules of Spanish and stuff, it wasn't enough to really learn the language. What I found for myself is that learning by listening a lot has been helping me, just like listening and just watching a lot of different videos and stuff, or podcasts and stuff, and really kind of getting used to the language. Thinking about that, the reason that I was deciding I was going to become bilingual is I thought that would help me get another job. So that was like one of my motivations. I always wanted to learn another language, but when I didn't have a job, I thought, geez, if I'm bilingual, then I'll be able to get a job easier. So, what are the reasons that you were deciding to learn English?
Yes, that's very interesting question. Most people say, well, I need to get a new job, and that's the reason. The real reason I started to study English was because 2015 was a very difficult year in my country. I am from Venezuela, as you know, and that was, I remember, that was a very hard year. The economic situation on those years was very difficult, and in my case, I am an accountant, public accountant. Sorry, and well, I was in my office, and suddenly I realized that all my clients, my customers, got out of Venezuela. That was very quickly, and well, I realized I had no money, I had no job, and I had to start to look for a new way to get money. So that was the first reason in my case. But I was in that situation, and I thought, well, if I have to reinvent myself, I'm gonna do something that I like to do.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, I like English, I like music. I'm gonna try to reinvent. I'm gonna try to get money with this way, so I can get money and enjoy. But the real reason is that when you start to learn something with the goal to get money, that's not a good idea, because you quickly realize that English is not a question about a couple of months or 3 or 4 months. It's about the culture, it's about meeting people. It's a very, very long way, really. And well, that that happened with me, but there was something special that attracted me. I think I fell in love for English since I started to meet new people, people from other cultures. It was so motivating for me, and I think that was the key. uh, I am still trying to become a bilingual, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yep.
So the first reason was getting a job, but nowadays, it has nothing to do with that really.
Right. Yeah. I think for the first moment that I ever thought of learning a language, when I was a kid, I lived in a neighborhood that had a lot of people that were from Puerto Rico. And I just thought it was so interesting that they could speak two languages. They could speak English and they could speak Spanish. And I couldn't do that. And I wanted to learn as soon as I could. And the first moment I was able to learn, I was 15, which isn't ideal. It's better to learn when you're younger. But that was the first time it was allowed that I was able to take it in school. I found that the way they teach it in school isn't very good. They really kind of go on the grammar. And I did learn some Spanish, but it was more like memorization of the different tenses. I didn't really learn how to even speak it. Like it was more like book learning. So I didn't my pronunciation was horrible. After like studying it in high school and then in college, I didn't use it and I forgot a lot of it. And then again, starting to try to learn it to try to get a job. But as I was starting to learn it, I joined something called it was called like penpals.com or something like that. And I made a friend in Mexico and we started practicing. We would practice on Facebook video. And then I got to be friends with her and her family. And I actually went and visited with her. And then I made other friends. And so I think, like you said, like learning about the culture. I started watching all these shows in Spanish. Now that's all people will say, what are you watching? And the only things that I watch are like things from Spain and from Mexico, while my friends are watching The Office or they're watching all these new shows that from the United States, and I'm watching Gran Hotel or I'm watching El Internado. I'm not watching the shows that other people are watching. And another thing that I really found interesting is to learn how languages form. Like Spanish is interesting to me because it has a lot of words that are from Arabic because Spain was ruled by the Arabs for like 800 years. Sugar, like azúcar, is from Arabic. Aceite, alfombra, I think it's like rug, like a bunch of like words that have the al sounds. That was like the, so it's the sugar, the whatever. So azúcar is the sugar in Arabic, but they just smushed it together. And then it's interesting to me that it came into English. So then it became sugar in English. And then learning just the English language has roots in Latin and then roots in Arabic, but also roots in German. Tons of words, lots of the language came from German, and then roots in coming out of Greek. So just kind of really learning how those languages just melded together. That's like really interesting to me. So now I love to someday learn and be like a polyglot. I want to learn German and I want to learn Greek and I want to learn Spanish and Italian because my grandmother's from Italy. But I'm just right now focusing only on Spanish because I still haven't mastered that.
Yes, it's so interesting. A friend of mine told me that when you are trying to get a third language, it's different. He says it's easier. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I think I don't want to think about become a polyglot. Really,
Yeah.
I think with my English is enough for now. But you know, time to time, I explore. I used to explore vocabulary about Portuguese,
Mm-hmm.
Italian. These are languages that are similar to Spanish.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easy for a native, a Latino guy,
Yeah.
these languages, and it's so interesting. And I noticed that the process of about learn a third language is different. It's easier, really. A similar process. And your second language is key, I
Yeah.
think, when it's about becoming a polyglot.
Yeah, I think that with me, like I agree. Like I want to do that. I want to learn this third language or the fourth language, but for me, it's a matter of time. And I only now that I work and I'm making these videos, I have my kids and stuff that I just don't have that extra time to devote to learning any more languages at this point. But later on, I think when my kids have gone off to college and I have some extra time in my hands, then maybe I'll again try to learn those extra languages. Agreed. It's one of those things that I would love to be able to. Part of it is just to say, oh, I'm a polyglot, but part of it's also just to just learn more about how languages form, which is very interesting to me.
Well, I think, if you want to have a second language, definitely there is not a magic formula, really. I think I don't like to say I learned English in 2 or 3 months. There is a lot of YouTubers, and they offer you can learn a second language in in a few months. But the real reason is that you have to spend a lot of time.
Hmm.
And overall, when it's about get confidence and get fluency, you know, the great challenge is try to tune up your ear and try to express yourself, structure your idea, and you have to struggle to struggling with your brain, with your mind, trying to order the ideas. That's a great challenge, really. I think it's the same thing in English or in Spanish or
Hmm.
whatever it's the language you're trying to learn. I think definitely it's impossible. You can get fluent trying to learn vocabulary with a book or in a formal course in the school. I think that's the first this motivating thing that you live, that you experience. I mean, following this, you realize that you need vocabulary, you need grammar, but overall, you need a native interlocutor, a native friend, a native
Hmm.
person who keep talking to you, who want to talk to you, who want to help you. And I think this is the only way you can get the final goal, which is keep a conversation fluency with a native person.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And that's what I found over the years. Like it's very, I guess, a coincidence that we both kind of started, like I restarted in 2015 because I remember that was when I lost a job. And so it's been about 5 years. Through those years, I met different friends. I met people from, Mexico, the friend I actually went to go and visit. And then I had another professor I told you about that's in Venezuela that I would practice a lot with. And then I've met some people in Spain that I've practiced with. So meeting different people and getting to know them, develop that language partner and everything to practice.
Yes, yes, that's great. I don't know if Venezuelan teachers have an special accent. It's so curious. When you are a native people, you don't know how do you sound.
Well,
It's so
I
curious.
wonder. My teacher from college was from Colombia, and now she would say to me, and I don't know if it's just a Colombian thing, she would be like, Colombian Spanish is the purest Spanish because we didn't have any influences from all these other languages. I don't know if she was just being like, oh, kind of bragging about Colombia, or if it's actually true that it's a more pure language. But I think that Venezuela being so close, so when I was actually looking
Yeah.
for a teacher online, I was looking for somebody from Colombia because I just had that in my mind, and I ended up finding this teacher in Venezuela, and I can understand her. And it's strange because the friend that I made in Mexico, and I think we talked about this before, I've known her for now probably like 4 years. But if I'm talking to my teacher in Venezuela, I can just jabber on in Spanish. But if I'm trying to talk to my friend in Mexico, I'm really struggling.
Well, I first of all, I have to say that I think you are a great Spanish learner because if you can understand me, you have a great Spanish ear. Yeah, I think the teacher our teacher, they need and they desire pupils and learners keep motivating, and it's possible a teacher try to talk to you slowly,
Mm-hmm.
calm down, and more correct. You know what I
Right.
mean?
The correct
They are
Spanish.
teachers, and they always are going to try to speak their native language correctly. They are going to try to do it perfect.
Yep.
In other side, if you are going to talk with a friend or a person, this is your friend, he's your friend, she's your friend, and she only want to know how are you. She is speaking because she want to know about you. She's not taking care about what is this person talking like. They are
Mm-hmm.
not taking care. They are not going to try to speak formally as if they were your teacher. I think there is a little different. I think that in my case, like a Latino guy and Spanish native speaker, I like a lot the Mexican accent. I think
Mm-hmm.
Mexican people have a great accent. For me, this is the best accent, the more neutral accent. You know, here Spanish people overall in Latino America, we have a lot of vicios. I don't know how do you say this in English. For example, we don't pronounce the e's at the final
Oh,
of a
right.
word. That's very common in Spanish, Latino people. But Mexican is the exception. They pronounce they used to pronounce the words correctly and full. That's the reason I think if you are trying to learn a second Spanish as a second language, the Mexican accent is a great opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's my opinion, but
Well, it makes sense. Like I think I told you, my favorite Spanish YouTuber is Lucito, and he's from Mexico.
yeah,
And I can understand him. I can, watch him without even putting on Spanish subtitles, and I can understand everything he's saying. I've been watching him for a while, but he speaks very clear and enunciates everything. And he travels all over the world. Right now, he's in Tanzania.
yeah, I think Mexican people have a great uh, accent. Well, the great advice for an Spanish learner, definitely don't try to start with Argentinian people or Chilean people. Wow,
Right.
that's very
That is hard.
Congo.
I've listened to, and it's hard for me too when they say shama, or I say um, como se llama instead of like como se llama, I think, because they pronounce those double L's as the S sound. It's that's one thing that they do, right? And then I'm trying to think what else they do, but that's like what they're known for is pronouncing those double L's and maybe the Y sound, I'm not sure is the S. Like yo, like show, it's be like show. I'm not sure.
Yes, it's very difficult, really.
So
Totally different. Argentina has even a different grammar. I mean,
yeah.
they don't say when you are talking about um, they don't use, for example, they say vos, they don't say tú or usted.
Oh, vos. Oh, instead of two, they say vos.
In Chile, it's something similar.
Yeah.
Uh, Uruguay, Argentina,
I was
Chile.
gonna say Uruguay. I have one friend. Apparently, it's such a tiny country that it's very strange that. But I actually went to school with somebody from Uruguay. Um, Apparently, they have only 3 million people, and so it's very unusual to probably meet anybody from there.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing is that in the case, for example, in Argentina, it's a very big country, very big,
Yeah.
and you can find uh, a totally different accent from one city to other
Right. Wow.
inside the Argentina, and that
Yeah.
may make the process more difficult.
And that's similar here too. Like if you're speaking to in New England, now there's people that are from Boston, they will say, park the car and have it yet. No, I don't talk like that, but they won't pronounce the R's. And then if you talk to somebody from Louisiana or down south, I won't even try to do that accent, but it's very different because I don't know if it's so much that they're influenced by the different people. There was like in Louisiana, there was a lot of French people there or whatnot, but their pronunciation is different. I can understand them, but it's different for sure.
Yes, and when you are a learner, all these things become a great problem.
Yeah.
You can get you can feel so motivated when you are trying. I always tell a little history. Uh, I wanted to start understanding New Yorker people from New York because I wanted to. I thought that is if I could understand New York people from New York, I could be able to understand everybody. But it doesn't work like this, really.
No.
I started for the more difficult accent, I think, and this wasn't a good idea because I started to feel dismotivated.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to end pretty soon because my daughter has something up, and I didn't want to have this too long. But we could do this again in a couple weeks if you'd like.
Yes, sure, sure, no problem. Whenever you want, I am here for you, dear Rachel. You know, I like to share with you, and I am so thankful with you for your all your help. And you know, you are a key person in my learning process. So you know, thank you very much. And whenever you want, I'm gonna be here. Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, thank you so much.